On this episode of the History of the Course podcast with Curtis and Josh, we finish our look at the band known as He Is Legend. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at IsSurvivedByPro for news and the latest episode postings. Make sure to subscribe to the show, leave us a 5-star review, and write us a comment on YouTube or whatever podcast service you're using. Make sure to check us out on TikTok and give us a follow also at IsSurvivedByProductions. Now, without further ado, let's start the show.
The devil is in Atlanta. Army surrounded.
Welcome back to the History of the Course podcast, where each and every episode we take a look at the history of a band from the core genre. I'm Curtis.
And I'm Josh.
What's going on, Josh?
Oh, not much.
Technology.
Yeah, just technology.
It's just another wonderful day in 2023 dealing with technology. That supposedly changes our lives, but I feel like it is more of a stress.
Yeah.
Yes.
Will it work or won't it work? I don't know. We'll see.
We'll find out. If we get to a point and Josh is just going, it probably means he can't hear me. But that's okay. He's entertaining me. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, Josh. Today we are finishing our look at the band known as He Is Legend. I'm still coming through okay, right?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. Awesome. Cool, man. All right, cool. All
Talking
right,
about Chiodos, the band Chiodos.
Right, Chiodos. Not even close. Don't know what connection you're on, but you're on a different phone call right now, I think. Now we're talking about the band He Is Legend. The last episode we left off with the band going on hiatus. The current lineup of the band when they went on hiatus is Sheila Kroom on vocals, Adam Tanbuz on guitar.
The two of them have been in since the beginning, right?
Yes, all of these guys. Oh, man. I think the only guy that hasn't been was the drummer. Because I know Matt Williams has been there since the beginning. I think Steve Bach, who's on drums right now, I don't think he was there from the beginning. I think we had a drum change. I know we've had one change so far. And it was a guitarist. So I think all four of these guys are original. We just lost the original guitarist, but they never replaced him yet. Maybe. We'll find out. I will say, after doing my notes this past week, this is probably the tamest lineup change, history of lineup change that we've had so far throughout all the bands that we've done. So I'm pretty proud of them, man. I'm pretty proud of them, especially for being a band that almost broke up let's see here, basically twice, because they almost broke up after recording Suck Out the Poison, and we almost didn't even get that. And then obviously they went on hiatus here, so who knows if they would ever come back. But lucky for us, they did come back, Josh, because in 2010, on December 28th, the band would reunite for one show and one show only. Then, almost 1 year later, in October of 2011, the band would get back together again and go on tour, with news quickly following soon after of new music from the band. All right, man. We're back. We're back. The wheels are in motion, man. The wheels are in motion.
Heavy Fruit doesn't come out for like 4 years.
Right? Hold on, though, man. We got the wheels are in motion, bro. The wheels are in motion. This is true. Yeah.
I waited 4 years for that?
Yeah. So here we are in 2011, at the very end of 2011, and rumblings of new music from the band is upon us. Now, 2 years later, in June 2013, Steve Bach on drums had left the band, but on good terms. No bad terms here, man. Okay. There's no hate.
As long as the door is open to come back.
Yes. Then we're good. It's not like I don't remember what his name is, but it's not like the drummer from Every Time I Die. What was his name? The first drummer? I can't think of his name, man.
Yeah, I don't remember.
That was a bad way to go out. And then writing a song about him on the next album. Yeah, I think that door's pretty much closed and boarded up. Yeah. All right, with Steve Bach gone, He Is Legend would turn to good friend Sam Huff to play drums. The band stated, quote, within 15 minutes of rehearsing one of our newer ideas with Sam, we realized that he was the perfect person for the position, end quote. So that's good, man. It's good. You want that chemistry. You want good chemistry, So now this one's for you, Josh, because you just made a comment about it. The fans would have to wait 2 more years, though, for the newest album. You know what that new album is, Josh? 2014's Heavy Fruit from Tragic Hero Records. Now, this album is going to be produced by the duo of Mitchell Marlowe. If you remember that name, he was in our last episode. He had done touring work on guitar, in and out on a tour with He Is Legend.
Okay.
And also Al Jacob would be helping with production on this album. Obviously, it's the first album with Sam Huff on drums. This album would be recorded as a 4-piece, and it was actually met with high praise. I know you're going to say otherwise, Josh. I will say, for me personally, it sounded, I don't know. I think the production sounded different to me. I don't know. I can't really put my finger on it exactly, but it didn't sound like what we were used to on the first 3 albums. Not including the first EP or whatever, but
this is like the first Heavy Fruit's the first foray into their new sound that they're going to be cultivating like over the next couple albums.
Yes. Yeah.
And the first take did not do well. And I think this album probably got high praise for the same reason that like Mailing 4 did, is because it was the first album that the band put out that was radio friendly.
You think this one's radio friendly?
I think there's several songs on here that are pretty radio friendly.
Okay.
Yeah, this album as a whole is not. Yeah, it doesn't hit for me.
Do you have any song on here at all that you like?
I like Abracadabra.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And Smoker Scoff, like those two together.
That's a good tandem. I like the opener, No Visitors. It's not bad.
Yeah. I don't know. It just I feel like I feel the same way every time I listen to this album. Like I go in optimistically and I'm like, oh yeah, like there's some good tracks on there. And then every time I'm just kind of let down. But it is an album where they're just kind of trying to, like I was saying, they're trying to find that new sound. And obviously it works because it hits with Few, the very next album.
See, I always thought that they went on hiatus after Heavy Fruit and they came back with Few. And so I was always like, oh man. Yeah, that's why I was always like, man, Few is such a good album, because I mean it's your return from hiatus and you're coming in so hard. But no, I didn't realize it actually went this way.
It almost makes more sense this way though, You throw an album out that doesn't, it's not great.
You're working through some stuff, right?
I mean, we can see what the numbers are, like Heavy Fruit to
Few. Yeah, figure out those numbers real quick, and I'm gonna give the track list here. Songs on this album include the opener No Visitors, This Will Never Work, Miserable Company, Something 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 Witchy, I Sleep Just Fine, Bethotes Art, got Spout Mouth, got Be Easy, Time to Stain, Abracadabra, which actually features the band Brother Beast. Have you ever heard that band before, Josh? Brother Beast?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's I think from what I've seen, it was almost kind of like a punk rock hardcore band.
Hmm.
I meant to look them up this week, and they were in my feed, but I never got around to it. But that's Abracadabra. You got Smoker Scoff, The Carpet, and the title track Heavy Fruit. What you got number wise, Josh?
Uh, Honestly, sad to say, numbers are pretty close through like most of the album. Um, there is only one song with over 1 million listens on Heavy Fruit, and that's Time to Stain. Um, on Few, Sand has 2,500,000 plays. And then Air Raid has 1 million also.
Yeah. I was about to say, I think those are the two big singles on Few, or at least that had music videos. Um, Maybe my only thought is maybe like because they just came back, it was like, oh, a lot of people were interested to hear, you know, what they would sound like, or what this newest album sounded like coming out of hiatus, you know, because again, it's like you're thinking about basically 5 years without music from He Is Legend, new music that is.
Yeah.
So
White
the
Bat
anticipation is up.
is not even White Bat's like 3 years old and it has about the same numbers as Few. So
Yeah.
one with 2,500,000 and one with over 1 million. And then Burn All Your Rock Records is like right at 1 million.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that was like the big lead single on that album.
That one on White Bat.
Yeah.
Okay, back to Heavy Fruit.
Yeah, I don't know. And I guess it goes along too with, I mean, if it is like what you're saying, more of a radio friendly album, that gets you a lot more views and everything like that. Um yeah, I don't know. It's definitely not my favorite album. I would say it's probably my least favorite. Um I'm saying least favorite, but I would say that I'm not even putting in the newest album into that category yet because I really haven't listened to it enough to really place it. But I would still say Heavy Fruit's probably my least favorite out
Yeah,
of all
same.
those. So,
It just doesn't have
alrighty,
enough good tracks on it, you know?
right. Well, and like you said, it makes sense where it's like we have these tracks, and but we're working on a new sound. We're trying something new, and it's almost like this is kind of our almost kind of like a dress rehearsal before Few comes out, and it hits you hard, you know.
Yeah.
So, alrighty, well, that's 2014's, excuse me, Heavy Fruit from Tragic Hero Records. Now, a little over a year after the release of Heavy Fruit, he is legend. He is
Oh.
legend would announce. Yeah, I know. I don't know. I was about to say something totally different. I don't even know what. We are legend. He is legend would announce that their new album would be funded by a crowdfunding campaign. Now, this campaign would open up on November 2nd, 2015, and close on December 2nd, 2015. So basically 1 month. And in that 1 month span, Josh, the campaign had surpassed the goal set with a total of 124% of the state's goal given. Pretty good, man. Pretty impressive. The people wanted more, man.
So did they do this one without a label?
They did have a label. Now what?
I was getting hype because I thought it was just going to give some more validation to sometimes when bands like they go off label for a little while and then they record an album themselves. Sometimes that's the best album they've ever done. Like
Right.
Arsonist Get All the Girls, Listen to the Color.
Right.
Like that is an amazing album.
I don't know. Now, the last record company, because they're switching record companies on this next album. And the last album company that they were with was, Tragic Hero Records. And I know that's I've heard of them before. I don't know if you have. They're kind of a bigger name out there. This next one that they're going to is called Spine Farm Records. And it's actually a record company out of Finland. So interesting. Been around since 1990. Parent company of Universal Music Group. I don't know how much control though they would have that. Let's see. Since 2002, Spine Farm has been part of Universal Music Group, but operates as an independent business unit. So that's kind of interesting. So yeah, they are moving away from Tragic Hero Records for this new album, and going to Spine Farm Records, which I'm guessing that's probably why they did the crowdfunding campaign.
Spine Farm.
But yeah, they definitely, the fans definitely wanted more, man. They I don't know if it was based off of what they liked before, off of Heavy Fruit, or maybe just kind of like a little bit of the same. Yeah, maybe just a little bit of the sound. They're like, we got a little bit of taste of it, but we want more, man. We want more. We need something a little more. I don't know, but 124%, dude. That's incredible.
Yeah,
it's pretty good, man. Just within months worth of time. So let's get into it, dude. 2017's Few from Spine Farm Records. Okay. I think we're like tied at the hip with this band from now on, Josh. But this album is going to be produced by Al Jacob and Adam Getgood, the bassist from the band Periphery. Somehow, some way, it's always coming back to that band now. And I don't guess I'm cursed now with that. I don't know.
This is a Periphery podcast.
It's a Periphery podcast. Yeah, it's I think I'm being punished now for saying it the wrong way.
This is going to surprise you. I feel like I have the least to talk about this album and more to talk about White Bat, and not because I think White Bat is better, but because there's not a down song in this entire album. Like this entire album is just amazing start to finish.
Yes. This is my favorite album. I mean, I know yours is Suck Out the Poison. This Few is my favorite album. Because you're right. It's like you can just listen to this thing front to back to front, whatever, man. And it's just such a good album.
Yeah. The album artwork is great.
Oh, yeah.
It's got I guess this album and Heavy Fruit are the two where there's like no China White, no garden references really. And I was gonna say, when we talk about Heavy Fruit, we're gonna say farewell to the garden references. But
psych.
Yeah, I didn't realize that in the newest album they come back with the garden revisited, or Return to the Garden.
Oh yeah, in the newest album, yeah, for sure.
I saw that, I was like, what?
Yes, yeah. I don't know. I mean, is there really any connection though? I mean, lyrically,
I don't know. It's all the same shit. Flowers and roots and branches
and creepy gardeners.
You could probably make the connection if you wanted to, but
true.
That
was weird.
Yeah, dude, start to finish on this one, just super solid.
Yeah.
I like the video for, I think it's Air Raid.
Kind of a live.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, and every time it feels like you might hit a song that is kind of slowed down or something a little bit softer, then halfway through the song it completely changes.
Right. So, yes. Yeah. They keep you on the edge of your seat, man, just waiting for that change.
Yeah.
This is coming, man. I feel like they do that a lot here in the second half of their career.
Yeah.
Especially on these last 3 albums.
They know how to end a track. That's for
That's true.
sure.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, for sure. Do you have a favorite song on this album? I mean,
Hmm.
I know, like you said, you love it front to back, but I just kind of curious to see if you had one that's like, yes. Oh,
Yeah, I'm gonna need to give myself a small taste of a couple of songs.
that's fine. I'm gonna go through a couple of stuff here while you do that. So we talked about female vocals in the last episode on a couple of the albums that we talked about before previously. And this name, I think I'm saying this right. Bibis Ellison would contribute vocals on this album. She has done vocals, I think, on the last few ones. It Hates You, and Heavy Fruit, and now Few. And I believe she's going to contribute some vocals on the next two also.
What track on this one does she do vocals on?
I think it said Silent Gold, but you can't really distinct female voice that well. But maybe she's just there and kind of hidden in the background. Nothing like predominant, like like Louds or what was the one on It Hates You? Decisions. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I think from what I said it was, or from what I saw it was Silent Gold. But yeah, like I said, it had to be like kind of buried in there, more for effect. This is going to be the last album for drummer Sam Huff, and this album, or the touring guitarist, on their last couple of tours, Dennis Dislodge, would contribute guitar on this album. So there's actually 5 members during this album recording process, but he's not going to stick around as a main member. Yeah. Songs on this album include Air Raid, Sand, Beaufort, Silent Gold, Alley Cat, Jordan, Gold Dust, Collins, Eastern Locust, Fritz the Dog, The Vampire, and the finisher, The Garden, featuring Josh Moore on vocals from Beloved. And I did not realize this until I was doing my research, Josh, but one Dustin Oring plays guitar on this album from the one and the only Between the Buried and Me.
Oh,
Interesting.
nice.
Interesting.
Nice, very nice.
Yes, very nice, man. Very nice. I will say that I love the connection that Collins and Eastern Locust have with that kind of that chorus line. They're a little bit different in the lyrics, but they're basically the same. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the
I think in Collins it says I've learned my lesson, paid my time, this blank expression, prepare to die. And then in Eastern Locust, it's I've learned no lesson, uh, paid no time, this blank expression, I will not die.
and then one of the Collins is as long as I'm free, you will
They
never
both say
be.
that. Yeah.
Well, no, and then Eastern Locust is as long as you're free, I will
I
never
will not
be.
be. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then man, I don't know. Again, it's like this is just such a good album from front to back, but like Silent Gold and Alley, dude, the guitar lick and Alley Cat is so good. Fritz the Dog, even though it's like a simple, like the drum beat is like so simple, it seems like, but it's such a good song too. It's just
The riff at the end
not
of the Vampire.
the riff at the end of the Vampires go.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's just not a bad song on this album, man. And that's why it's my favorite.
Yeah, it's a
Period.
great album.
End of sentence. Exclamation point. Alrighty, Sam Huff on drums is going to be replaced in 2016 by
Here we fucking go. Here we go.
by Jesse Shelley on drums, but after recording drums took place. So Sam Huff, like I said, is on Few, but he would leave before the album is actually released. And I believe, Josh, that is actually our last. Let's see. Yes, that's our last lineup change. Yeah, that's our last lineup change. That's it. It's over.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm back in. I'm back invested.
Okay. I can barely hear you, but he's invested. That's good. Sorry. All right, man.
I'm invested.
Thank you. Please speak into the microphone. All right, man. Let's talk about 2019's White Bat from Spine Farm Records, produced once again by Mitchell Marlowe and Al Jacob. This will be the first album for Jesse Shelley on drums. Metal Injection. You ever heard of them, Josh?
Oh, I've heard of Metal Injection.
They have described the album saying, quote, simply put, White Bat is the perfect culmination of He Is Legend's career up to this point. Not only is it their catchiest and most cohesive record to date, but it also captures the raw energy of the band better than their past records have. Would you agree, Josh?
I do agree.
Okay, let's hear what you have to say then.
I feel like there's a lot of stuff in White Bat that comes back. Like now we're back to screaming. Like
yes,
you know, and you can hear
it started ramping up in the last one a little bit, but it wasn't. Yeah,
it was more musically ramped up in the last
right.
one.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one, like the music goes hard as hell. Like Burn All Your Rock Records, When the Woods Were Young, Eye Teeth, like those all hit so hard. And you can hear a lot of like old He Is Legend sounding riffs in there. Like right. I feel like with Few and White Bat, they're really like they're comfortable in their new sound, and they're also like kind of reminiscently bringing in some stuff from their old sound, right. You know? But yeah, I really like this album. White Bat's good. Burn All Your Rock Records, When the Woods Are Young, Eye Teeth. God, like all the way up through there, like Talking Stalker, Bent, Resistor, Uncanny Valley, Interloper, Skin So Soft.
Well, thank you. I've been using moisturizer. Well, thank you. I've been using moisturizer.
Skin So Soft is a very, I don't know, it sounds very old He Is Legend.
Yeah.
You know, your skin's so pretty. I want it. You know,
may I have it?
May I have that skin?
Excuse me, dear.
Oh, I know. I'll cut off your skin and drape it over my body. And then, of course, to end the album with Boogie Woman. Like, yes. That's a brutal song. And dude, that riff is the best riff on the album. The outro riff. The da 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 da. Yeah. Oh,
we're so full of riffs, people. We're full of riffs.
So good. Yeah, dude. White Bat's really it's up there for me with Few. Like I feel like they go well together. It makes sense that White Bat's like on the back end of that.
Yeah.
Now,
I remember like when it first came out, and I was like really hesitant because I'm like, man, Few was just so good. It's like, how are they gonna come up with another, or you know, like to follow this? How are they gonna do that, man? And it was a pretty good album. I still, like I said, I still put Few ahead of White Bat, but it's still a really good album, man. I mean, they still killed it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, White Bat's good. I feel like it's an album that like you might hear about like those single tracks that got put out first. I think it was it Eye Teeth and White Bat were the single tracks? Oh wow,
no, they did singles White Bat for several. I know White Bat and Burn All Your Rock Records was.
Yeah, they did singles for Burn All Your Rock Records, White Bat, Eye Teeth, and Boogie Woman. But I didn't hear the one for Boogie Woman.
Well, I know there's a music video for it. Because
Fair.
a lot of people commented. See, when they came up with this record, I think when they went out and tour for it, they were touring with Rob Zombie. It was kind of a weird combo. They was like Rob Zombie and then like somebody else. You're like, wow, that's a really weird combo for He Is Legend to go with. But then a lot of people commented on the music video of Boogie Woman. They're like, yeah, I see the influence there from Rob Zombie because it's very like Rob Zombie ish.
I haven't watched the music video. I think there's a music video for Honey from the Hive.
Oh, really?
I
Oh,
think
yeah.
so.
Yeah,
I
on the
haven't
new
seen
record.
it. Yeah, but I
Yeah.
saw like Spotify will play sometimes like a clip from a video or something
Yeah.
like in the background instead of just the still cover.
Yeah, it's Lifeless Lemonade and Honey from the Hive. Those are the two that have music videos on the newest album.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm done with White Bat. I love
Are you
it.
done with that? Okay, I
I
was
don't
gonna
know
say.
I don't know what
I
else
didn't
to
know if you
say
had any
about
more,
that
man.
album.
Didn't know if you had any more or not.
Burn All Your Rock record is really good too. Like that, it's so like I love
Like,
the
it's so
main
good,
riff through
man.
that song.
Yes, yeah. They go hard on that one, man. They go
Like the
hard.
drums are really good in that song. Yeah, yeah. It's a good one.
It's a
I
good album.
listened to
It's a
that
good album.
album like twice today because
Did you?
yeah,
He's like, I don't want to move on, man.
I just started over. Yeah.
Don't you hate that when it's like you're trying to go through a whole like discography and you get to one, you're like, I don't really want to move on after this because
That's
it's
gonna
so
be
good. I
me
always want to
with
listen to it again.
Deftones, bro. I'm never gonna get past the self-titled and Around the Fur. I'm just gonna like
Right.
start over after Around the Fur every time.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is 2019's White Bat from Spine Farm Records. All right, Josh, gotta give you some sad news. It's probably the first time I've had to give any sad news on this podcast. But former founding member Mackenzie Bell, who played guitar for the band, would actually pass away in 2020 at the age of 35. Let's take a moment of silence for Mackenzie Bell. All right, moment of silence over. At the beginning, at the beginning of 2022, Schuler Kroom would drop off of He Is Legend's upcoming tour due to a mysterious illness. Ooh, what could it be? Kroom described his illness as such, quote, I have an illness, end quote. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I thought that'd be
I
pretty
am
funny.
sick.
I am sick. No, he said, quote, I have an illness. We're not sure what it is. Hold on a second. I get sick usually in the mornings. I'll throw up and then I will be ill for sometimes 2 weeks. Those are the gory details. Now
Oh,
I'm
he's
not
pregnant.
right. I'm not talking I throw up and go to bed and feel gross. I'm throwing up
That's
20
not a
times a day.
disease, crooner. It's not an illness.
Oh boy, I'm like living in the bathroom, end quote. Kroom would also go on to say, quote, so all year we've been going in and out trying to figure this out. We thought the gallbladder removal was the answer. It turned out it wasn't. I got sick again. This time, very close to my recording sessions for the new He Is Legend record. As I was healing from the gallbladder surgery, I get sick again. So we had to push recording for me. The album is finished, other than vocals, end quote. So I don't know if he's still dealing with this because I couldn't find anything like 2023. I mean, I know we're only a month in, but obviously he somehow got through it because we have a new record out that
Right.
came out in November. But I mean, I'm interested to see what the deal was. Taking out your gallbladder. I mean, it's a big deal, and then to still have problems. It's like, okay, well, what the heck is going on with me?
Yeah.
But then to like, man, to push through all that and still like do the vocals that he does with like the vocal style that he has. I mean, man, that's got to be tough. I'm sure that was like a really tough recording session for sure. Alrighty, well, that takes us into 2022's Endless Hallway from Spine Farm Records. I am wondering, Josh, and I know there is a track on this album called Endless Hallway, but there is a lyric from Eastern Locust off of Few that I believe he said something about I choose to live in this endless hallway, and I wonder if they went back to that or if that has any connection at all with the track Endless Hallway also. But I just thought that was kind of interesting going back
I
and
bet it
listening.
does.
Wouldn't surprise me with He Is
Even if
Legend.
it's just like, a small reference.
Small little reference, yeah. This album would be produced once again by Mitchell Marlowe. But here's some fun facts for you, Josh. Matt Goldman, yes, the one and only Matt Goldman would be in on the recording process of this album. And this album would be mixed by one Bo Burchell, the guitarist from the band Seosin. How about that, Josh? What a lineup.
Matt Goldman should have told them the second half of this album was garbage. I expect more from Matt Goldman. He should have stepped in.
Oh boy. Yeah, he's probably like, hey, you can just use my recording studio. That's about it.
No, I need to listen to this one a couple more times.
Yeah.
But
What'd you think on first listen then?
the first few tracks I do like.
Yeah.
Like,
I love the opener, man. I love the Prowler. That's a good one.
yeah, I would say maybe up through, I think Sour was the last one I saved
Okay.
as like,
It starts kind
this
of going
one's at
downhill a
least
little
decent. Yeah.
bit. Yeah.
But I don't know. You said that Lord Slug was kind of a throwaway track.
I didn't say it was a throwaway. I just told you don't waste your
You said
time because
just
you were
skip
trying
it.
to. Yeah, because you were like, well, I'm not ready to record yet. I still got one last song. And I'm like, well, if you're listening to Lord Slug, you can just skip it, bro. Just because it's like I don't know. I mean, you know me. We talked about it before. I love a good finale on an album, and I just feel like this just didn't do it for me, man. Lord Slug
Yeah.
it's just kind of disappointing. I mean, I just felt like
It's
with
a
the direction we were
far
going, it was going to
fall
be a
from-
good. Yeah, I mean,
it's
it
a
felt
far
like
fall from Boogie Woman.
well, there's I mean that even the Garden is it the Garden?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Garden. I almost said the Gardener. Even the Garden. I am. If you want to go all the way back to I Am Hollywood, or even Louds, or
I'm your
what
gardener.
was the deal? What was the final song on It Hates You? You liked that one?
What was that one?
I forget, but I know you liked it because you said it kind of picked back up for you there.
Yeah. Mean Shadow.
Mean Shadow. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, this Lord Slug didn't do it for me. I felt like, especially with like the name, I was like, this okay, this may be good. No, I didn't like it. But I'm with you too. It's like
my
I need
hopes were high too. Expectations were high.
I need to give this album another go a couple of times and see. But yeah, I'm with you on that. I think at the beginning it starts out really good, but it starts kind of the back end of the album starts kind of taking a dive a little bit.
Yeah, it's like Time's Fake, Sinkhole, Animals, like
yeah. Yeah, songs on this album include The Prowler, Lifeless, Lemonade, Honey from the Hive, Return to the Garden, Circus Circus, Sea Mistress, Sour, Endless Hallway, Time's Fake, Sinkhole featuring Ariel Bloomer of Icon for Hire, Animals, and the finale, Lord Slug. Yeah, I don't know. I was expecting a little more from He Is Legend. Wasn't disappointed, but like I said, got to go back and listen to it a couple of times, man.
Coming off a few and White Bat, like
yeah,
need a little more.
How are they gonna follow up White Bat and Few, man? And then they came out with this. It's like, okay, yeah, need a few more passes by it.
Yeah, and few bands
I was just
do that, I mean, we talked about that with Every Time I Die. Every album is just better and better and better and better and better, like all the way to the end. So it's just like, yeah,
it's rare.
It's very rare. It's very rare.
Most of the time, it's like ebb and flow, man. It's sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. It's a roller coaster.
Yeah,
for sure. I think I was just like more
things, and
right. I think I was more impressed by like the lineup of like the production team,
Yeah.
I mean, because I think Mitchell Marlowe's done a pretty good job on their last several albums, producing them,
Hmm.
and working with He Is Legend, on the production and everything. But then like to see Matt Goldman's name tied to it, you're like, okay, because I love Matt Goldman and love everything he does. And then I'm a Seosin fan. I don't know about you, but
Yeah,
um,
earlier stuff mostly.
yes, yeah, more earlier stuff. But yeah, I like Bo Burchell, his guitar work and everything. So I was very interested to see how that was going to go. But yeah, definitely needs a couple more pass throughs to make a final decision and place it on the list of best albums, best to worst albums. Yeah, say that. Yeah. Alrighty.
One thing I was going to
No, go
say
ahead.
about White Bat
Yeah.
was there's a few songs in the middle that have more of, especially vocally, more of like an alt rock feel,
Mm,
And you could tell me that that album was a Seether or a Shinedown album, and I would still listen to it because like that's how good it is. But yeah, the thing
confirmed. Josh
with
is a Seether and Shinedown fan.
oh god, I'm not no, no.
Oh boy.
Um, so yeah, it's just like the the vocal style, depending on the day when I listen to it, it's like it goes
On
back
that
and forth
album
for me a little bit. Yeah,
or that
you
time.
know,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, because okay, so let me ask you this. I know I'm gonna guess I already know what the answer is for musically, but throughout their career, how do you think their music holds up? Like it's their guitar work, the bass drums, you think it holds up pretty consistently? I don't think it ever really disappoints.
No, I think
That's
they're
to me, that's one of their big
musically,
attractions.
yeah, musically it pretty much always hits.
Right. What do you think about vocally though? I mean, he
Vocally,
kind of has some ebb and flow sometimes.
I lean more towards the early stuff vocally.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. I still like that's what I was saying, like just kind of go back to that. Like you could tell me it was an alt rock band album, like any of the ones we said. And
Right.
even though I don't like those bands, I would still listen to this album because it's that good.
Right.
So,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, it obviously still plays for me. It's just, it's different. We talk about bands that like what could be if, your music's there, but
Right.
what could be if you just, changed up your vocal style or the type of vocals you were doing.
Right. Yeah. Well, and we saw that with He Is Legend because that's what they did with when Suck Out the Poison came. I mean, it sounded different vocally from I Am Hollywood,
Yeah.
and they made comments about that too. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he's definitely got I mean, I feel like he's got a vocal style that stands out. I mean, like I could hear that as like a blind hearing and be like, oh yeah, that's Schuler Kroom from He Is Legend, man. There's no
Who?
mistaking that. Schuler Kroom.
Who?
Schuler Kroom?
Shula Krum.
Okay, what was that about?
Not that it's just a hell of a name.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what was happening. Did you have a stroke?
Huh?
How did I get here? Alrighty, man. Well, you got anything else to say about He Is Legend?
No,
They're
I
still
don't
a
think
band, people.
so.
I mean, unlike the last couple of bands that we talked about, they're still a band. They're still out there. They're a four-piece. Sheila Kroom on vocals, Adam Tamboos on guitar, Matty Williams on bass. All three of those guys are original members, by the way. And then you got Jesse Shelley on drums. Still going, man. I mean, they just put out this album in November. I don't remember the date, but November of 2022. So I mean, it's still pretty fresh, about 3 months fresh. The future is bright, I think. We'll
I
see,
mean,
man.
this
They're getting
could just
old,
be like
man.
another heavy fruit, just an album that doesn't
Yeah.
completely hit and they
Ooh,
just
does
use
that mean
it.
there's gonna be a good
Oh
album
God.
coming up?
Another few around the
Few
corner.
part two.
That'd be
It's
pretty
actually gonna be few
great.
two.
What was
Too few.
the It was 3 years though between Few and Heavy Fruit. So we'd be
Oh,
looking at like a
yeah, but
2025 album from He Is Legend.
yeah, but I will say between Few and White Bat, there was only 2 years.
Yeah,
And then if you think about it, between White Bat and Endless Hallway, it was 3 years. So maybe we're getting an album in 2 years, bro. It's a
maybe.
pattern: 2 3 2 3 2 3. The writing's on the walls. Alrighty, man. That is He Is Legend. Definitely, definitely go check that out. Their whole discography. They're a good band. I know. Obviously, we both stated our favorite albums. Is there an album that pops out to you that you'd be like, "Hey, have you ever heard of He Is Legend? You haven't? Check out this album."
Mm,
What's a
and
good
we
starting
always,
point?
we always say, yeah, most
What's
accessible.
what's most accessible? I
Uh,
personally, I would say I Am Hollywood. I think that's the most accessible.
yeah,
I feel like a lot of people, it's lighter than everything else that comes after. Because I feel like once you get into like Suck Out the Poison and beyond, it just gets like heavier and you start like separating your audience. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I feel like I Am Hollywood is a little bit lighter, even though there's like some heavy screams in that, and that's probably one of their more heavier screaming albums. I don't know, the musically and like the way his vocals come off singing wise, it just sounds more kind of light
yeah.
to me.
I would have to go Suck Out the Poison or White Bat.
Okay. Okay.
White Bat because there's a lot more like just kind of driving groovy riffs I could see people who are not necessarily into the genre just kind of getting into.
Getting into it, yeah.
And then Suck Out the Poison, kind of for the reason you were saying about I Am Hollywood. There's softer vocals, but it's more of a I don't know. I'm thinking of the seduction of right now.
Oh, Dixie
Um,
Wolf.
yeah. Um, and just like, yeah, I don't know. I could see people, same thing, like people who weren't into the genre really could get into his singing in that album.
Yes. Yeah. He's a good vocalist, man. Singing his clean vocals are really good, man. It's a good
Yeah.
sing along. To me, it's one of my favorite vocalists to sing along with for sure. Well, all right, that's gonna do it for this episode for this band. Let's get on out of here, Josh. You want to? Let's close the
Okay.
door on this chapter. Let's close the book.
Who's next?
Who's
What's the
next?
next book?
Hold on, we'll get there. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at is survived by pro for news and the latest episode postings, not just on this show, folks, but on our other shows too. The Red Right Hand Podcast, all about the Peaky Blinders, all 6 seasons, folks. And you also have the Throne of the Dragon podcast, which covers the first season of House of the Dragon. Josh, how is the Aegon? Was it the Conquest of Aegon? Aegon's Conquest? How do you title
The
it?
Conquest of Aegon.
I was like, that sounds kind of weird when I say that. I'm like, that sounds like somebody's conquering Aegon.
And it's sexual.
Yeah, it kind of sounded that way. I'm not gonna lie. It's like,
oh god, now I've like lost my
what
train
are
of
we
thought.
about to get into?
So, as you know, Curtis,
Yes. No, I
the
don't.
Throne of the Dragon podcast
Yes.
is our Game of Thrones or
House of the
our House of
Dragon.
the Dragon show that covers each and every episode of House of the Dragon.
Yes.
But did you know that in the off season we are going to be covering different chapters from Fire and Blood leading up to where the show ends at the end of season 1.
Ooh, exciting.
So we've got an episode on
I can't control my excitement.
wow.
Ah.
So we've got I've got an episode on Aegon's Conquest just about finished up, and we'll be talking about that next. Then we'll be doing a couple other episodes leading up to where we are in the Dance of the Dragons.
Sweet. Awesome. So yeah, go check out those two podcasts while you're at it, people. The Red Right Hand podcast and Throne of the Dragon podcast. And while you're at it,
Okay. There's a lot of people who are like Anya Taylor-Joy in The Queen's Gambit. Yeah, you know what else Anya Taylor-Joy is in? She's in Peaky Blinders. And
whoa,
she's
where'd that rage come from?
pretty it's just one of those things where like I feel like not a lot of people watch that show, dude. Watch Peaky Blinders, you know?
No,
I don't think here
which
in the
is weird.
States anyway.
No.
Which is crazy.
If you have
because there's
seen
so
the if
many
you have seen the
huge
trailer,
actors in it.
people, if you have seen the trailer for the new movie Oppenheimer, Cillian Murphy's in it, and he's also in Peaky Blinders.
Give like a couple episodes a shot, and you will really like it. And I
Please.
promise, it only gets better over 6 seasons. Like,
Yes, I agree, man. I agree.
all right, let's get the fuck out of here.
While you are at it, get on Twitter and follow my co-host over here at Joshua Lynn Gary. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review and write us a comment on whatever podcast service you're using. And if you want to listen to us and see our smiling faces, head on over to our YouTube page. Just search Is Survived by Productions. That was creepy. And that'll have every episode from all of our shows. Subscribe to the channel and thumbs up the video. Now, Josh, are you ready? Are you ready to hear what's next on the next episode of History of the Course podcast? Okay.
Let's hear it. What's the next one?
I'm not going to tell you the band. I'm going to give you a tease, and then we're going out. So here's your tease, buddy. You got to figure it out. All right, here we go. And don't tell me. If you figure it out, don't tell me, because I'm into this episode. But here's your tease, people. Split EPs. That's split EPs. And Italian love. Split EPs and Italian love. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.